Hello everyone, how are you doing? Today I will try to better explain what is active listening. Stick until the end of the video as I will give you guidelines that will make you a better listener for sure. But first, what is listening? If you ask different people to explain listening, then I am sure some would say listening is hearing. What do you think? Is that correct? Well, listening in our day to day life is actually following and understanding the content of a given sound, whether it is a voice or something else. So, listening is hearing with a purpose and with thoughtful attention. Actually, listening is the process of receiving spoken and or nonverbal messages, constructing meaning from those messages, and responding to them. As you see, hearing is just the physical process. It is natural and it is passive. Like you sitting in a room and you hear birds warbling, or you hear two people talking, but you are not really paying attention. Listening, on the other hand, is both a physical and a mental process. So we have an additional mental layer here. Listening is also active. It is a learned process and a skill. We generally will consider listening as a skill. So listening is actually hard. You must choose to participate in the process of listening. Why? Because listening is a conscious activity that is based on three basic skills that are attitude, attention, and adjustment. This means that you have to maintain a constructive attitude, you have to strive to pay attention, and also you have to cultivate a capacity for adjustment. Listening is needed everywhere. If you are learning, if you are teaching, if you are working, if you are playing sports, or interacting with humans in any way or sort, you need to listen. And listening skills are the basis or the foundation for other important skills like negotiation skills, like leadership skills, management skills, teamwork skills, learning, and also emotional intelligence, of course, if you believe in the concept of emotional intelligence. But the problem is that listening is not practiced effectively in organizations and even in our day to day lives. There are statistics out there stating that nearly 70% of all communication is either misunderstood, misinterpreted, rejected, distorted, or even not heard at all. So we can have another dedicated video explaining the importance of communication channels choice to improve the exchange of information or communication in general. But let's first concentrate on listening and the types of listening. The main types of listening are inactive listening, which is basically hearing. The second type is selective listening. Then we have active listening and reflective listening. Let's focus on active listening, of course. So, active listening is an attentive way of listening and responding to other individuals in order to improve mutual understanding. It is actually a demonstration of paying attention to other people, making them feel that you are really hearing them. It is called active because it requires certain behaviors, ways, and manners of the listener. So, why do we have to listen actively? Well, now you know that attention and mental focus are the fundamental differences between hearing and listening. Some tests of listening comprehension actually reveal that the average person listens at only 25% efficiency. So, in other words, a typical person can speak around 120 words to 125 words per minute, yet listeners can process up to 3 to 5 times faster. This is why you must actively focus on listening in order to prevent your mind from wandering and starting to think about other things. Active listening is also important as it can build trust and respect between people and avoid misunderstandings that can lead to conflict, frustration, or hurt feelings. Also, while listening to other people's point of view, standpoint, and perspective, you might just learn something new and even something fascinating. Here, let's add in some extra important facts and figures. On average, 75% of the time, listeners are sidetracked, inattentive, preoccupied, or forgetful. 85% of our learning is based on listening. Of course, we will have some level of personal differences here, but this is an average 85%. 20% of the time we remember what we hear, and more than 35% of organizations and businesses think listening is a top skill for success. Yet, less than 2% of people have had formal education in listening skills. Also, humans spend 45% of their waking time listening. On average, most listeners recall around 50% of what they have heard immediately after hearing it, and of course, even less after some period of time. So, all these previous statistics and numbers were compiled from a variety of sources, including mainly the International Listening Association website, which you can check for further information. As you see, these figures truly highlight how difficult it might be to listen actively. After all these aforementioned points, what comes to mind is that adopting an active listening behavior will help people listen attentively to others in order to have a better information exchange and avoid misunderstanding. So, as you see, there are lots of benefits to active listening. It tends also to open up people and to get them to say more. It also helps showing empathy and building healthier relationships. It will lead to better communication in general, and as we said previously, listening skills are the basis of other important skills. To sum it up, active listening is the aptitude of the message receivers to help the senders of the considered message to say what they really mean, whether it's in a face to face context or using other channels and means of oral communication. So, what do you think? Are you a good active listener? Please comment below stating whether you are a good listener or not. In both cases, here are, as promised, some guidelines for active listening to improve your active listening skills. First, listen for content, which is the textual and semantic meaning of verbal and oral communication. Phone calls, video conferences, face to face encounters, and other types of discussions are going to be always carrying some meaning. You need to listen carefully for that meaning. Then you have to listen for feelings: anger, fear, discontent. Understanding body language and voice tone are very helpful here. So try to assess, is the person you are communicating with angry, fearful, disappointed, or happy? Then you have to respond to those feelings, comfort them, and help them deliver what they have to say. Because if we are angry or fearful, for instance, we tend to speak poorly. When we are angry or fearful, we tend to communicate poorly in general. In the end, note all these signals, reflect back, and transmit your thoughtful answers and reactions. This is it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Of course, I am hoping and expecting to have you as active listeners of my channel. If you want me to create another video about the other types of listening, or actually any other subjects, please let me know by commenting below. Feel free to like this video, to comment on it and share it. Also, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Keep me motivated to post more. Thank you again and see you.